everyone. Today we are here with Camille Calibeo, the Galactic Gal. She's an aerospace engineer, an amazing science communicator, and she works at the intersection of space and business. We're really happy to have her here today. Thank you for coming today, Camille. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're working on right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's a pleasure to be here. You guys are doing such a great job just interviewing people, and I'm just so honored to be here. So yes, my name is Camille Calibeo, and I run the Galactic Gal. I got my shirt on on social media. And my actual job is business development at Lockheed Space in Denver, Colorado. It's a really good blend of engineering and business. So I really like it because I have an engineering background, but I don't really like working in the true engineering jobs all the time. I'm way more extroverted and I want to strategize and just think about the future. So that's my job. And then the Galactic Gal is all about making aerospace accessible to everybody. I really hate the term it's rocket science because I think it makes it really inaccessible to everybody. Because the second you say something is hard, then it turns a lot of people off from it. And I don't think it has to be like that. I think that it all depends on how you teach it. And if you teach it properly, then anybody can understand it. And then my platform is, of course, also really empowering for women in STEM, just to help them maintain their femininity and embrace it, and give them the tools to success.
Thank you so much. That's wow, what an introduction. So my name is Kelly. I am studying biomedical engineering at Ryerson, and I am the media and outreach team lead for Ryerson Robotics currently. Don't have as much under my belt as you, but maybe one day.
Oh, you're still in school. You got it.
You're really inspiring to us. I'm studying mechatronics engineering, and part of why we started the media and outreach team was to help make more girls and people of diverse backgrounds feel comfortable, but also to share our love for robotics and get to connect with people who maybe don't have access. Like, I grew up really rurally and didn't have a lot of STEM education. So yeah. I think it's really great what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you.
So the second question is, you did mention that you work at Lockheed Martin. Could you describe what a typical day is like for you?
Yeah, so it changes every day, which is something I really like about my job. But my job, like I mentioned, is all about strategy. And we're looking at 10, 15, 20 years in the future. And think about the technologies that we need in 20 years to fulfill whatever mission we're looking at. So the moon, Mars, climate, everything here on Earth as well. So, I mean, my insight into missions is really vast. And so we're talking with customers like NASA, actually the Canadian Space Agency, a couple Canadian companies, actually, the DoD, things like that. So those are our customers, and we'll go to them and talk to them about what they're thinking in 20 years, what we're thinking in 20 years, anywhere between now and those 20 years, and then how do we get there? So it's very collaborative. I talk to a lot of people all the time. I talk to a lot of executives who make those decisions. And then, I look across all of Lockheed Martin Space, and I talk to the technical experts and the business development experts and try to strategize a plan to develop those technologies.
That sounds so interesting. You get to be involved with so many different types of people and really big picture, like you're saying, looking at the future and strategizing. That sounds really exciting.
Oh yeah, I love it.
So on the side, you do a lot of science communication. I wanted to ask you about what drew you to science communication and what made you so passionate about it.
Yeah, so I really didn't plan for Galactic Gal to happen. I look back at my childhood, and you're saying you came from a really rural community, and I did too. And we had really good academics, best in the state kind of thing, but we didn't have a lot of access, especially back then, to like engineering and a lot of the, like more advanced math and sciences. And there really wasn't a way to get involved in a community with engineering and math and science. So I didn't have that growing up. But I always wanted to be a teacher, but just not in the traditional sense. And I think now I'm like trying to, I'm looking back at my childhood, like I wanted to be a teacher, and now I've like found how to do that in my own way. So basically, about this time last year, it was the end of last May. I had no idea what I was doing in my life. I was so miserable. And I actually talked about this in a post a couple days ago. Like I was so unhappy with my job and my life. I felt like I had no purpose in life. And I was about a year out of college. I was so lost out of college. And I posted about the SpaceX Demo 2 mission, and I talked about how important that is for the future of space exploration and that whole space economy that's about to blossom. And like I had no followers, like basically just my friends, but I like used some hashtags and it like blew up, and I was like, whoa. And so I started figuring out that there's a whole STEM community, and especially women in STEM, and there's a whole community on social media that loves space. And I knew that existed on Twitter. I'm not good at Twitter, but I didn't know that existed on like Instagram and TikTok. And so it kind of just happened. And then I was like, wow, I could use this platform for good. I could reach a lot of people, especially in rural, underrepresented communities, and reach people that we normally wouldn't be able to reach. So that's a little bit about how I got started with it.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen your Instagram and I love you on TikTok.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I don't put that much effort into TikTok because
really?
moments. Yeah, I just cross post on Instagram and TikTok.
Oh, I think they're really cool, and I just love the way that you're using your platform to promote STEM, and you have such a large following right now, and I think it just shows how much we need people like you, because and it just shows that there's also a large population of people that are interested in this stuff, and you do a really good job at inspiring us to pursue our passions. So I just want to thank you for that. Like,
oh, thank you so
brings
much.
me joy.
Thank you. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw, but Instagram, like the official Instagram account on Instagram with like freaking 400 million followers, found one of my posts about women in STEM, and they wanted to share it for Women's History Month. And it's so like important to me that happened, and not because of how many people like saw my account, but how many people saw that reel and learned that the first computer programmer was a woman, and learned who Ada Lovelace was, and that importance. And it just shows that Instagram is the world, and I'm looking at Instagram as like the largest social media platform in the world. Like the world is finally recognizing the importance of women in STEM, and they made it an effort to include a STEM post in their Women's History Month, which I just thought was absolutely amazing.
It was.
It's so exciting. It's not just a win for you, but when I saw that, I was so excited, and the things you're doing are really making a difference. Like even in our lives, we're buoyed by seeing like, yes, there's people like us out there, and you're killing it, and you're doing such cool work. So thank you for sharing that.
Oh, of course. Yeah, that's my whole goal, is to show young women and young men too, right? Like that there is somebody out there that looks like them in some capacity. And for the first time in history, like you can go on social media and find a woman in electrical engineering, and you can find any sort of minority in XYZ engineering or STEM in general, and you're going to find somebody, which is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, thank you. So our next question is, what is your most distinctive characteristic?
Oh my gosh, that's a hard question. I've never been asked that before. I think it's really just my drive. I all through college, like I was just so passionate about every class that I took, and so invested in doing well at it and learning as much as I could. And then I think, that's carried over into work. Like, before this job, I really didn't like my job. or any of the jobs that I had before that in like traditional engineering. And I really tried every day to like show up and be passionate and find something that really motivated me. And it wasn't always the case, right? Like I definitely was not as good at my last job as I am now and as excited about it, but I tried to find something exciting, tried to find that silver lining. And then with the Galactic Gal, like there have been so many times I just want to quit because it's so exhausting. Like, you know, as much as I try not to obsess over numbers, like of course we all do, right? And I just, you know what, I just find a way to make it work. And I'm just so passionate about giving back and talking with people like you and giving back to the community in any way that I can.
So you've kind of touched on that you've had different jobs and your journey through school, but did your journey to where you are now involve any unexpected turns on the way?
Yes. So growing up, there really wasn't a lot of push for women in STEM back then. And we're probably all similar ages. So like early 2000s, there really wasn't a huge push for women in STEM. And growing up in a rural community, again, I didn't have that added push and those opportunities. And so I was teased and ostracized. And I'm an only child, so it was really important to me to fit in. And so I really tried to hide the things that I was getting teased for, and I tried to just conform to a mold. And so then I kind of I just buried my love of space. And then middle school came around and we started getting to play in the band. And I long story short, ended up playing trumpet, which is also male dominated. And so I took this crazy turn and ended up playing trumpet semi-professionally. I went to an arts boarding school for high school, like an hour and a half away from home at 15. I'm sure, like I said, I'm an only child. I'm sure my parents hated that. No, they loved it. But I was competing. I was ranked in the top 30 high school trumpet players in the whole country, the US. And I mean, it was insane. Like I was going to be a professional trumpet player. And then when I got there, I was like, I like playing, but it's not my whole life. And I really miss math and science. So how can I get back to that? So I'd say that was very different. Like I love space and I love math and science. And then I just went down the art route, but I think it's made me a better person.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of people can relate with that feeling of engineering or science is not for me. And like even personally, I wasn't sure if I could see myself fitting into this field. So I just wanted to know what was that turning point like where you realized that this is something you believed you were capable of doing?
Yeah. I'd say when I got to that boarding school, actually, yeah, I was in arts boarding school, but the thing about it was that all of us were weird, right? Like artists are weird, right? But we all just had like quirky things about us, and that made us all fit in our own ways. Like it wasn't about, you know, the cheerleading squad and everyone's popular and oh my gosh, I like math and science, and that's not cool. We all had our quirks there, and we were all different in our own ways, which helped us really just fit in. And so I also realized there that it didn't matter what people thought about me because, again, everyone there had something going on that they didn't fit in at their normal high school. And none of us cared about that. Like we just loved each other for who everyone was and everything that they brought to the table. And so I finally realized there that I was okay. Like it was okay for me to like math and science. Yeah, that was still weird at an art school, but I had resources there that I might not have had at my normal high school. And so that's when I really realized that I could do whatever I wanted to do, and that, you know what, it was okay. And I didn't need to be the popular kid all the time. And, you know, going into math and science was the right move for me. And I guess the last thing I'll say is that when I ended up picking my university, like they had they still do a really, really good program for women in STEM. And there's a lot of opportunities and a lot of resources and a lot of support because they really want to make you, they really want to set you up for success. And so it was really when I got there that I was like, okay, women in STEM, let's go.
Nice. So the next question is, what do you value in your colleagues?
My colleagues.
Yes.
I just value honesty and respect, right? Like I don't want to be micromanaged and I don't want to micromanage them. And I also just, I want to, I want to trust them that I ask for something by Thursday at noon, and I want to trust that they're either going to do everything possible. Well, they're going to do everything possible to get it to me Thursday at noon, or they're going to communicate with me and they're going to be honest why they can't. And so I just really value that because, I do that for them. And so I value that when I see the same respect coming back at me.
That's so true. On our team, we have a very similar policy because things come up. We're all students, so we'll be like designing the chassis and somebody has CAD due and they have a midterm that they didn't realize they needed to study more for. And as long as they tell us, then it's something we can plan for, right? Like then we can find, okay, this person can work on it so that we can still meet the deadline. But it gets really hard when it becomes a surprise and they tell you when it's due that it's not done.
Oh yeah, it's just being honest with each other and just being respectful of each other just makes teamwork the dream work. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So now I wanted to ask you, what does it mean to be innovative in the way that you work?
I think just thinking outside the box. So I'm in a very strategic role. And I'm in a role where none of this has been done before. And so it's really important to just think outside the box and, don't be afraid to fail, because thinking outside the box means that you're not always going to have the best ideas. But when you do have a good idea, it's a good idea, and it will change the way you work. It'll change your project. It'll change everything for the better.
I like the confidence you have in yourself. I think it's very admirable.
Well, it took me a long time to get here, and I will say that it's not always like that at all. Yeah. I have self-doubts. I suffer from imposter syndrome. I think a lot of us do. But I think like what's really helped me have a lot of confidence is knowing that, I have a public persona that is literally meant to help people. And that's really helped me like come out of my shell, but also being vulnerable with them, right? Because I'm not going to put on a face of perfection because I'm not perfect. And sorry, my email just keeps going off. Real fast. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's helped me be vulnerable and talk about things and notice that I'm not the only one suffering from it.
Cool. So what is your motto then in life?
My motto in life.
A big question, I
know. Let's see. I think my motto in life is to be happy and find something that really, really grinds your gears. Because then you're passionate about it, you're putting good into the world. And it makes you happy. You feel like you have purpose and that you're doing good things in the world.
That's sweet. Thank you.
What accomplishments are you most proud of?
Let's see. I'm really proud of the Galactic Gal. I started it last May with like just my friends and family following me. And now I have almost 25,000 on Instagram. And it's not that I'm like, oh my gosh, I have 25,000 followers. It's that, no, I have built a platform that has reached so many people and made a difference in so many people's lives, helped them learn about space, helped them see that they can be involved in the space industry. And you don't have to be an engineer. You can, there's so many things in the space industry that you can do. And it's really opened up a lot of people's eyes. And then also like the women in STEM empowerment side of that, I've reached so many people. I've been vulnerable with so many people that it's helped them be better versions of themselves and know that they're not alone in whatever they're struggling with.
The place that we see ourselves in the space industry is like space robotics. It's something I'm really passionate about. Mm-hmm. I know that Lockheed Martin worked with the Mars Perseverance rover. Did you have any involvement with that? And how do you get to work with space robotics in your job?
Yeah, so I did not have any involvement with that other than promoting it on social media. I mean, that team is amazing. I mean, we've built the aeroshell and the back shell, like all the heat shield stuff, for I think like every Mars rover, or every Mars mission, which is absolutely insane. You know, I don't like, I'm not in robotics, but you know, I worked on Orion, which is part of the Artemis program, and there are so many opportunities there for that. And I worked on a satellite program, and there's definitely, I mean, of course, a ton of robotics in the industry. And I think you just have to, you know, just keep your eye out for job openings, and you know, really like search for robotics jobs, like search for keywords, and also just keep networking with people. My whole motto is network to get work, and don't be ashamed of that. I mean, full disclosure, I had a 4.0 in college, and I was involved in 50 different things, and I did not get hired through an online portal. It was all about who I could network with and show them my passion and like put a face to a name kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, just keep networking with people, doing what you're doing now, meeting a lot of people in the industry to help you make that first step into it.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Wow. So what was the most challenging environment or concept you've had to work with?
So I think my most challenging environment, and it really was also this challenging concept, was my last job, like right before this one, my last like true engineering job. And I'll say it was challenging because not only the concepts were completely foreign to me, I didn't learn them in college. It was a classified program, so you can't talk about it, you can't Google it. You have to rely on the engineers who are working with you. So not only was the technology really new and challenging to me to learn, but I will say like the environment was really challenging because when you're in a classified environment, you have no windows and you can't work from home and you don't have your phone. And it was really hard on me mentally. And then on top of that, it was really old program. So there were a lot of, you know, old habits that people had and old culture that I think needs a lot of work. And that happens everywhere in industry, right? And I think that was really challenging for me, just coming in fresh out of college and having all these ideas and being told that, no, this is how it's been done for 25 years, sorry. And the culture, you know, a lot of men, a lot of older men, and, you know, I don't want to, you know, I don't want to hate on them, right? But like, there's that older culture of women in STEM women can't do anything in STEM. And so it was a really good growth opportunity for me. That was also really kind of what helped me become confident, because I realized that if I wasn't confident, I was just going to be run right over.
I think that's so true. As a woman, like, you really have to speak up for yourself, and you almost have to advocate for yourself. So it's good to hear that you got through that and that you've come out the other side so much stronger. And now you're doing that to like help us come up behind you and do the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are you most excited about in the field of space and in the field of robotics?
I think I'm just most excited to go back to the moon and finally see humans live there like forever, permanently. You know, it's been so long and we've had so many really cool things come out of the space industry, but it's been so long since we've been back to the moon. And I'm just really excited because it's, you know, space is one of the only things where everyone in the world comes together to do something greater, right? Greater than any of us, singularly or humanity as a whole. You know, I mean, you look at the space station, and we fought Russia to get to the moon originally, and now we're living and working together. And I think going to the moon is going to be our next big thing, our next big showcase of how we can work together. And I'm also just really excited to see like the same infrastructure, the same societal setup that we have here on a different celestial body, which is enabling us to then get to Mars. I mean, it's so important that we colonize, well, people hate that word, to whatever, live on another planet, so that, you know, that it protects us, and we can learn so much from it as well.
Right. And I mean, science and robotics is a big industry. What would you say is the biggest what would you say is the biggest barrier to enter the industry?
Entering, I think the biggest barrier is, just not being able to find the right people to network with. Because I see so many people who have applied to 100 jobs and they're more than qualified, but everyone else is also applying to 100 jobs and they're also qualified, right? And it's,
Yeah.
I think the caliber of students nowadays and the education that we're all getting is just out of this world, no pun intended. And now we have so many really, really bright people coming up. But however, there's going to be like millions of open STEM jobs in the next 5 to 10 years. We just have to figure out a better way to fill those positions and get the right people in the jobs without people having to spend hours, hundreds and hundreds of hours applying for jobs that they're never going to get seen for.
So you've talked a little bit about your high achievement in the realm of art and your achievement in the realm of science. And that's something we're really passionate about on the team. We have a whole media and outreach team of over 40 students, and they come from all faculties, including English, visual arts, computer science, engineering, and it really allows us to explore both sides of our personality. So I wanted to hear from you, how do you think that your passion for art and your passion for science feed each other and actually help strengthen each other?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's great. I'm so passionate about STEAM, which is STEM plus art. So I think it's so great that you guys have so many different people on your team. I think they feed each other because engineering and science is also an art and you also have to be creative. But if you've never trained in an art where you're training to be a creative, then it's harder to learn that in science. So I think, it's not impossible. There are plenty of scientists out there who aren't artists too, right? But I think that those that are both, you're using both sides of your brain, and your ability to create in art, music, dance, whatever is going to, it changes your brain. It changes the way you think about things, which then helps you think about engineering problems a lot differently.
That is so true. And speaking of STEAM, why do you feel it's important to have diversity and representation in STEAM?
Yeah, I think that, if I could clone myself 50,000 times, that's great. I could get more work done, but that's not bringing a diverse thought, right? It's not. So if we all look the same, if we all come from the same background, we're going to get basically one thought process. We're going to get one solution, and that might not be the best solution. And a lot of the times it's not going to be the best solution. And so it's really important to have people from all different backgrounds, ethnicities, countries, educational backgrounds, their childhood backgrounds, how they look, how they think. It's so important that we have all of that so that we can all come together and, devise a solution to problems in a different way and find the most optimal solution with all of our brain power coming together.
So now I wanted to ask you about how you took the path less taken. What do you think you did differently from others that helped you find the success you have now?
Yeah, I think that, I was talking about networking to get work. And in college, I was very much, not afraid to go up to a high profile employee at Lockheed or wherever, high profile alumni that everyone else is scared to talk to. I had no problem walking right up and saying, hey, I'm Camille and I want to learn about your job. And then a lot of times if you say that, right, they're going to be like, whoa, someone cares about me. And then they'll start talking and then they'll ask about you. And then it turns into, basically an interview at that point, but it's way, way less formal. And then they're way more inclined to help you because they have that personal connection. And a lot of times they want to, because they want other people to succeed and they want the next generation to succeed. That, and then, just really trying to find my passions and not being afraid that, okay, I tried really, really engineering jobs and I didn't like them. And I realized, very early on that I didn't like them. And there's a lot of people that experience that same thing, but they wait around 10 years because they're scared to move. They're scared to make that change. And I was like, nope, I'm not going to sit here and be unhappy. Like, I'm going to quit if I'm unhappy, which I'm not going to quit because I'm not a quitter. So I need to find something else to do. And that experience of me leaving my traditional engineering role and going into something that combines engineering and business, I'm not kidding. It has helped so many people because I get so many IMs at work and DMs on Instagram and emails like, I didn't know I could do that. I thought I had to wait 10 years and I thought I had to pay my dues. And I just don't believe in that. I think, you know, there's something for everybody. And if you're sitting there doing something you don't want to do, like what's the point in that? Like, you need to be harnessing your skills and your abilities in a way that makes you passionate, because then you're going to bring more to the table.
Agreed. Wow, I think you said that really well. And sadly, we have one more question, but we just wanted to know, what is your advice for students interested in entering the space industry, the field of robotics, or science communication?
Yeah, so I will say that it can be very daunting. You know, a lot of people are going to tell you that you're going to face adversity. A lot of people are going to tell you that you can't do it, that you're not good enough for it, that you know, especially women in STEM, that you're not capable of doing anything. And a lot of people are going to be jealous of you. They're going to try to bring you down. But at the end of the day, it's not about them. It's not about you. It's about them, right? Like, they're bringing you down because of their own insecurities. And don't let them bring you down. Don't let them bring you down to their level. Be you, right? Like, I'm not saying be better than everybody else, right? I'm saying be you, and don't be apologetic about that. And don't give up on who you are just because people are going to tell you that it's hard. You know what? Maybe it was hard for them, but that doesn't mean it's going to be hard for you. And you're going to have things that are harder for you than they were, than it was for them. And that's okay too. So I think just at the end of the day, you know what? There's always going to be adversity. People are always going to tell you XYZ is impossible, but it's not. If you are passionate about it, then you can do anything.
Well, thank you so much for your inspiration, your advice, and for taking the time to talk to us today. It was really great to hear about your story and your experiences, Camille.
Of course. Well, thank you guys so much. I wish you all the success in the world, and just keep doing what you're doing.